Why is Israel considered the chosen nation in the Bible? This question isn't just about geography. It's about understanding the theological, historical, and spiritual underpinnings that have made Israel central to biblical narratives. So, let's embark on this journey, tracing back to the ancient promises made by God and their implications throughout history. To understand why Israel is called the chosen nation, we must start with the theological foundation, God's covenant with Abraham. In Genesis 12:1-3, God called Abraham out of his homeland to a new land that he would show him. God promised, "I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." This covenant was more than a promise of land. It was the beginning of a divine relationship. It set apart Abraham's descendants as the channel through which God would reveal his plan of redemption for humanity. The land of Canaan, which later became Israel, was a physical manifestation of God's promise and a place where his presence would dwell among his people. The covenant didn't stop with Abraham. It continued through his son Isaac and then Jacob, who was later renamed Israel. Jacob's 12 sons became the patriarchs of the 12 tribes of Israel. Genesis 35:10-12 recounts God's words to Jacob. "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel. I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and increase in number. A nation and a community of nations will come from you, and kings will be among your descendants. The land I gave to Abraham and Isaac I also give to you, and I will give this land to your descendants after you." This lineage formed the basis of the nation of Israel. Through their stories, we see themes of struggle, faith, and divine promise, which underscore the unique role Israel would play in God's redemptive history. The chosen status of Israel is thus rooted in these divine covenants and promises that were reiterated through generations. The story of Israel's chosenness continues through the Exodus from Egypt. In the book of Exodus, God's dramatic deliverance of the Israelites from slavery under Pharaoh becomes a foundational moment. It's here that God formalizes his relationship with Israel at Mount Sinai. Exodus 19:5-6 states, "Now if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations you will be my treasured possession. Although the whole earth is mine, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation." This moment is crucial because it defines Israel's mission. They were chosen to be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, a people who would reflect God's laws and character to the rest of the world. The Mosaic covenant, which includes the 10 Commandments and other laws, established Israel as a nation set apart for God's purposes. Central to Israel's chosenness is the land of Canaan, promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This land holds a spiritual significance beyond its physical borders. It was the stage for many of God's interactions with his people, from the victories in battle to the establishment of Jerusalem as the center of worship. In Deuteronomy 7:6-8, God reiterates the reason behind Israel's selection, "For you are a people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you out of all the peoples on the face of the earth to be his people, his treasured possession. The Lord did not set his affection on you and choose you because you were more numerous than other peoples, but it was because the Lord loved you and kept the oath he swore to your ancestors." This passage highlights that Israel's chosenness wasn't due to their merit, but due to God's love and faithfulness to his promises. The Promised Land served as a place where the Israelites would live under God's law and where they would be a light to the nations. The return of the Israelites to their land after the Babylonian exile symbolizes God's faithfulness to his promises. Books like Ezra and Nehemiah recount the rebuilding of Jerusalem and the temple, emphasizing the renewal of Israel's identity as a chosen people. This period is significant as it sets the stage for the coming of the Messiah, which Christians believe is the ultimate fulfillment of God's promise to Israel. From a spiritual perspective, Israel's chosenness plays a key role in the overarching narrative of salvation. The nation of Israel is the backdrop for the arrival of Jesus Christ, who Christians believe is the promised Messiah from the line of David. In Romans 9:4-5, Paul writes, "The people of Israel. Theirs is the adoption to sonship. Theirs the divine glory, the covenants, the receiving of the law, the temple worship, and the promises. Theirs are the patriarchs, and from them is traced the human ancestry of the Messiah, who is God over all, forever praised." In eschatological beliefs, Israel's role remains significant. Many prophecies speak of Israel's future restoration and its place in the events of the end times. Ezekiel 37's vision of the Valley of Dry Bones symbolizes the restoration of Israel, a prophecy that some believe was fulfilled in part with the establishment of the modern state of Israel in 1948. In Revelation, the New Jerusalem, a city that represents the fulfillment of God's promises, is seen as a gathering place for God's people, Jews and Gentiles alike. For many believers, this underscores that Israel's chosenness continues to hold spiritual significance, even as God's plan encompasses all nations. Understanding why Israel is called the chosen nation helps us grasp the nature of God's covenantal love and faithfulness. Israel's story is one of grace, a reminder that God's promises are enduring, even when His people fall short. It also teaches us about the call to holiness, to be set apart in a world that often turns away from God. For Christians, Israel's role in God's plan offers a rich heritage, connecting the Old Testament promises to the fulfillment in Jesus Christ. It encourages believers to reflect on the faithfulness of God throughout history and His commitment to His people. So, why is Israel the chosen nation in the Bible? The answer weaves together God's promises to Abraham, the nation's role in revealing God's character and law, their struggles and restoration, and their part in the ultimate story of salvation. Israel's chosenness is not just a matter of the past. It speaks to the enduring nature of God's covenant and His desire to redeem all of humanity. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Scriptures. If you found this exploration insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's continue to seek the deeper meanings in the stories that shape our faith.